Hi everyone, I'm Benjamin from Reporters Without Borders. This is our digital security training and today we will talk about secure passwords. Do you know what a secure password looks like and how you can create one? This and how to manage more than one secure password is what I want to show you today. We will see how hackers try to access your online account by attacking your password online and offline. We will also discuss password managers and create together a very secure password using a dice and a word list. Passwords are probably one of the oldest forms of authentication, but we still use them on a daily basis. We use PIN numbers for our banking cards, swipe patterns for our mobile phones, and text passwords for our online accounts. Chances are that a password is the only thing that's standing between you and a hacker that wants to break into your account. And when they break into your account, they can do all sorts of things. They can read all your private messages, copy your contact list, attack your coworkers, or pretend to be you and publish false information. So, what makes a secure password? One that attackers cannot break. Before we can understand the answer to this question, we first have to understand how hackers work. The easiest thing a hacker can do is to just try to guess your password. An amateur can do this manually, one attempt at a time. Slightly more professional attackers will let a computer program do this for them. And these attacks are quite common. And I would say almost every server administrator has seen them happening. Fortunately, these attacks are rather slow, and unless your password is very easy to guess, they take quite some time until they're successful. This attack scenario is called an online attack, and in a perfect world, this would be the only attack hackers could do. But we do not live in a perfect world. Website programmers make mistakes, and some of these mistakes can be used by hackers to steal password databases. Hackers will look for these so-called weaknesses, not on the user's end, but on the website's end. And in fact, hackers steal password databases like a lot, and some of them even publish them on the internet. There's this website operated by Treuhand called havemalone.com, which tries to monitor when hackers steal and publish private information taken from websites, including password databases. And hackers are busy. The number of stolen password databases steadily increased over the past few years. And there have been quite a few prominent examples, such as Yahoo in 2012, Adobe in 2013, Yandex in 2014, and the dating website Ashley Madison in 2015. And yes, also YouPorn was among the victims in 2012. The password databases are published on hacking forums and in so-called paste sites. These are websites where people, mostly anonymously, can share small snippets of texts. How bad these attacks are largely depends on how the website stored passwords. Some of them do it right and others just store them in plain text. And this is a bad thing because then hackers have immediately all the password information and can take the rest of the day off. It is better if they store it in a form that is called salted and hashed. What this means is that when you give your password to a website the first time, the website creates a random number called the salt value, and it stores that salt value in a table right next to your username. Then your password and the salt value are mixed together in a so-called hash function, and the result will be some complicated and randomly looking number. So the whole point of a hash function is to transform your password into a scrambled version that will be stored in a database. The system should be able to transform anything you input into that version and compare the result, but no one should be able to do the opposite. This is called a one-way function. Think of like mixing two colors. You can always get the same third color, but you can never break the third color into its two components. It's practically impossible. A hash function has the nice property that it is practically impossible to find out the password just by looking at the output. With practically impossible, I mean that no one knows how to do it, and the best thing hackers can do is to try every possible password they can think of and hope one gives the correct result. This is what is called a brute force attack. There are also, so to speak, scientific competitions about the first one to come up with a faster way to find a password. And as soon as competitors get close to finding a faster way, other scientists think of a new hash function that is even more difficult to attack. This is what such an attack, called an offline attack or password cracking, looks like in practice. Hackers use software tools that are specialized in trying as many passwords as possible for a given password database. One of these tools, and that is what I'm showing right now, is called Hashcat. What makes these tools so successful is that we humans are not very good at creating passwords that computers cannot find this way. There's a whole lot of research about how humans choose passwords and how to predict them. Have you ever wondered how strength meters decide how strong a password is? I admit, some of them are of no use, but there are actually good ones that make use of the result of this research. As soon as a hacker has found your password, they will continue as follows. First, they will try to log in with your password. Next, they will try to log in with your username and password on a different website. This is called credential stuffing, and this works. They know that many of us use the same password on different websites. And while it is still too early to be sure, research by Google indicates that this may be the most important attack scenario. Now we know how hackers work. A password must therefore be strong enough so that it cannot be found in an offline attack. It is not easy to come up with such a strong password on your own. The best thing you can do is to create it randomly with the help of a computer program or a dice. A secure password looks something like this, or like this. And I will show you how to create one at the end of this video. I know what you're thinking, he's gonna forget it. Well, this brings me to my next topic, password managers, because no one wants to remember dozens of passwords like this. A password manager is a computer program that remembers all your passwords for you. The password manager itself is protected by a password, but that will be the only one that you have to remember. There are many password managers out there, and you should check out our help desk website for more information that help you choose one. I picked one example for today, KeePassXC, and will now walk you through how to use it. We start by downloading KeePassXC from its website. Before we download, we make sure that we got the right URL and that the connection is secure. I myself also checked the website certificate, but let's talk about this in some other video. If you want to, you can check the information on how to verify your download. I decided to do the basic integrity check, like this. Right when we start KeePassXC, it wants us to enter a password for our new password manager database. This password will protect all the other passwords that we want to store and is called the master password. The master password is the only password that you will have to remember. I decided to choose a secure passphrase and I will show you how to create one by yourself at the end of this video. Let us now quickly add a new password. Let us call the passwords that we store in the password manager database site passwords. When I select a new site password in a password manager, I like to create it randomly and make it at least 20 characters. I won't be able to remember that, but I won't have to. In order to use this new site password, we just have to copy the password to the clipboard like this and paste it into the browser field. The question in everyone's mind, how safe is it actually to use a password manager? First of all, if your master password is strong enough, your site passwords are reasonably secure. Your site passwords are encrypted with an encryption key that is derived from your master password. The process here works very similar to that password hashing that we talked about earlier. But this time, the result will not be an hash value, but an encryption key. The only way to find your encryption key is, again, to try every possible password one can think of. Besides the type of password manager that we already talked about, let's call them regular password manager, there are two other types of password managers that you have to be aware of. The first ones are called online password manager and the second ones are called stateless password managers. An online password manager usually works in the same way like a regular password manager. The major difference is that your password database is not stored on your computer, but rather on the computers of a company. In order to access your password database, you have to log in at the company's website, just like any regular website. The company usually does not have access to your passwords. They are usually encrypted in your web browser before they are uploaded to the company. When you log in, they are sent back encrypted, and your master password is used to decrypt them again. This all happens in the background, of course, and you do not have to do anything special. Online password managers have two main benefits. The first one is that you do not have to install software on your computer and that you can access your site passwords from every computer that you have. The second one is that when someone takes away your computer, they do not have access to your password manager database right away. However, there are also two major disadvantages. The first one is that with an online password manager you have to be way more careful with phishing attacks. If one of your adversaries get access to your master password, they will get access to all your site passwords at once. And the second one greatly depends on your personal situation. If, for example, your government is one of your adversaries, they can just ask the company for your password manager database and your master password. Even if your password manager database is encrypted, it is very easy for the company to grab your master password the next time you log in. They just need to change their website programming for that. The final variant of a password manager is called a stateless password manager. You can also find them under the name password generators, even though I personally find the term a bit confusing and misleading. These password managers do not need any database at all. They instead calculate your site passwords from your master password on the fly. The basic idea of a stateless password manager works as follows. Let's suppose you want to log in at example.org and your username is Freedom Fighter. The password manager then takes this information together with your master password and does a calculation that is similar to the password hashing that we talked about earlier. The password manager then takes the result and uses that as a site password. On the first look, stateless password managers do have really nice properties, but it is quite challenging to use them securely. I do not recommend them unless you absolutely know what you're doing. I just want to tell you about 2 disadvantages so that you get an idea of what the problems are. The first disadvantage is that you cannot easily change one site password without changing your username or your master password. But if you change your master password, then you will have to change all your other site passwords as well. The second disadvantage is that the security of all your accounts is linked. Your adversary only needs to know one site password in order to start attacking your master password. And getting one site password is probably easy. They just have to trick you into making an account at a website that is under their control. Now that we know how password managers work, there is still one thing left for us to do: creating one secure password. We have seen before that a secure password has to be randomly generated and does not look that nice. Instead of a secure password, we can actually create something different: a secure passphrase. While a secure password will have randomly chosen characters and will be impossible to pronounce, a secure passphrase will have randomly chosen words. The result will be longer, yes, but way more easy to pronounce and to remember. The way we create a secure passphrase is by a method that is known as diceware. The way it works is that we have a list of words and choose a few of them randomly with the help of a dice. These words together will be our passphrase. I'll walk you through the process and show you how to create one. I got my list of words from the Security Self-Defense Guide by the Electronic Frontier Foundation. The EFF also has a nice written walkthrough on how to create a secure passphrase. Let's create our first word. Our word list has 5-digit numbers, so we have to roll our dice 5 times. Our first number is 1, our second number is 2, our third number is 4, the next one is 3, and the last one 6. So our first word has the number 1, 2, 4, 3, 6 and is astronomy. This is our first word, and you will have to do the same again for another 4 words. I have already prepared the other 4 words, and my passphrase is now astronomy, legible, battering, Macarena, igloo, prior. You do not have to remember your passphrase right away. If you can keep a piece of paper in a safe place, it is perfectly fine to write it down. Just make sure you do not leave any traces. Now that we have a secure passphrase, we have 2 things left to do. First, we have to remember it, and then we have to destroy the paper where we have written it down. My suggestion would be to just go outside, burn the piece of paper, and stomp on the ashes to make sure nothing is left. So that's it for today, but we are not finished to secure all your online accounts yet. In our next video we will talk about 2-factor authentication, how it works, when to use it, and how you can set it up for your accounts.